Hello, and welcome to our fourth episode of our 2025 live stream series, Wild About Water. My name is Rachel, and I'm a watershed health educator here at the Environmental Learning Center on Clackamas Community College's campus in Oregon City. And today, we are going to be learning about the beavers' adaptations for living in and around water and how their dam building benefits other wetland creatures. I'm so glad that you could join me today on this beautiful sunny morning. It's a little cold here at the ELC, but the birds are singing and the sun is shining, so not a bad start to the morning. Like I said, today we are going to be talking about the beaver. And you may have in front of you a sheet that looks like this. Up at the top, it's got the title of our episode, Beavers, Nature's Builders, and a graphic below that you can color in during the episode or after. And it says, by building dams, beavers create habitat for wildlife. Color the beaver pond below and cut along the lines to create a fun puzzle. Put the pieces together to illustrate how a beaver pond helps wildlife and water quality. And as you can see, there's a very fun picture below where you can color in all the different plants and animals and birds. And it's got some information about how beaver ponds are really beneficial to the environment and other creatures. And below that, we have our community connections, because at the end of each episode, we want you to be able to walk away with some new knowledge that you can take back into your community. Today, you'll be able to finish this sentence, and it says, beavers help other animals by blank. You'll be able to fill in that blank. Now, today, we are talking about the beaver. And here at the Environmental Learning Center, a few years ago, we've noticed some interesting signs around our wetland, like this stick. This is a stick we found that has some signs of beavers, some chewing marks, if you can see on the up-close camera maybe. There's all these little lines. And at the time, we didn't know that it was a beaver, but we wondered, what could it be? What is taking the bark off of this stick? There were also some trees that had fallen and were cut down, and a lot of the plants were being eaten. And at the time, we weren't sure what it could be. So we thought about it and realized that a beaver had been here at the ELC. Now, we didn't see the beaver in person with our own eyes, but we saw all those signs. And beavers are herbivores, so they eat a lot of wetland plants, and we realized that this would be a great place for a beaver to come visit. Now, I'd love to show you a picture of what a beaver looks like up close. And on these photos, you can see that they have a really unique body. They have a big tail and a very pronounced nose and teeth. They spend some of their time on land and some of their time in the water. They're great swimmers. There's lots of unique features about beavers, and today we're going to go over some of them, and those are called adaptations. And adaptations are a behavior or a physical feature that helps them to survive and thrive in their environment. Now, the first adaptation that I want to show you is on their eyes. They have very interesting eyes. They spend a lot of time in the water. Now, think about when you go swimming. Are you able to see under the water? Sometimes, if you open your eyes, you can see underwater, but not for very long because the water can irritate your eyes. So for a beaver, they do a lot of swimming, and if they weren't able to see underwater, it would be pretty hard. Their unique feature is called a nictitating membrane, and it's almost like wearing swimming goggles. And today, I want to feel like a beaver today. So I'm going to put on some pieces that help me to think about what a beaver might feel like in the water. So they've got their goggles so that they can see under the water. The next thing is their fur. It's really interesting because it's got two parts to it. It has this long, silky guard hairs that help it to stay waterproof, but it also has these longer, not longer, but shorter woolly type furs down below that helps it to stay warm. I'm going to show you on our close-up camera here a little better. Some of those guard hairs are longer on the top, and then more of this woolly fur down below that keeps them warm. And in a human, it's almost like wearing a warm woolly jacket like I've got on today and wearing a raincoat. So as humans, we're able to sort of imitate that with wearing two jackets. Beavers, like I said, are very good swimmers, and they also have these back feet. It's hard to tell on our pelt here, but their back feet are webbed. And you may also be able to see here on our model that they have webbed feet, and that really helps them to swim faster in the water. Now, to imitate that, I've got some beaver feet here that I'm going to put on. The webbed feet are very important to their swimming abilities. You may not be able to see my beaver feet, but they're on there. And the next unique feature of a beaver that I want to talk about is their tail. As you can see here, their tail is quite large, and it serves as a place to store fat during the wintertime to keep them healthy, and also helps them swim and change direction while they're swimming. And the piece that I thought was the most unique was they can use their tail to slap on the water to make noise that warns other beavers of danger. So this tail serves a lot of really great purposes. So that's one of the last pieces I'll put on here. I've got my beaver tail, and I'll put it on with my belt. I'm feeling like a beaver already. I'm ready to go swimming and all the great things that beavers do. Now, one of the last pieces that a beaver is well known for is its teeth and its mouth. Beavers have really interesting teeth. They're very long and very strong too. They have a outside layer that is very hard and sharp. And every day, a beaver's teeth can actually grow up to 6 millimeters. Now, 6 millimeters isn't very long, but to a beaver in their mouth, that's pretty long. And to keep the teeth from getting too long, it will gnaw on wood and other plants to help keep them at the correct length. And a beaver can actually chew through a 5-inch piece of wood or tree in 3 minutes. It can chew all the way through this piece of wood in 3 minutes. I don't know if I could do that, but beavers can do that because they have very strong teeth, just like this. I feel ready to be a beaver. So, beavers have a lot of really unique pieces to their anatomy and their body so that they can be successful in their environment. Now, as a human, that's a lot of pieces, so I'm going to take them off. But for beavers, what exactly do they do with all these unique features? Are they using them to find food or hide? Maybe a little bit of both. They use all these features in the water oftentimes. And one of the things that they're best known for is actually building dams. And a dam is a structure that is built by a beaver in the water to stop the flow of water, just like this one. And I'd love to show you a photo now of a beaver dam that was built in the area. And it does a great job of stopping that water, and it creates a pond behind it. Now, why would a beaver build a dam? It's a lot of work and a lot of energy, but why would a beaver do that? They actually do it because it creates a home for them. They can live there, they can store their food there. It also creates the pond, like I said, behind the water, and that helps them to escape from predators as well, because beavers are really, they're built for swimming. And if they're able to hide from a predator out in the water where the predator can't get them, that is very, very good for the beaver. Now, what else can a dam do for the environment? A dam can also improve the water quality in that river or stream. Now, by stopping the water, how do we think that the water quality could improve? The water will slow down and stop from the dam, but over time, some of that water trickles through and makes it to the other side of the dam. And when it trickles through, it's actually getting filtered and it is becoming cleaner and clearer, which is really great for all the animals that need to drink or live in that water. The water also becomes a habitat for many other creatures. Now, I've got another great illustration for you to see of what a beaver pond can look like after the water gets stopped. So hopefully you're seeing now a photo of, or an illustration of a beaver dam that's created a pond behind it. Now, how many creatures do you see that are benefiting from that beaver pond? There's quite a few. I think I count almost 10, including the mallards that you'll hear behind me today. They're telling us about that beaver pond, I think. The water stopping and creating this pond, it creates a place for food and a place to live for all these other creatures. The beavers are just trying to build a home, but it turns out that they're actually creating more homes for other creatures at the same time. Another creature that you may see benefiting from these beaver ponds is a mallard, just like I said. There's some other creatures that benefit as well, and that includes a heron, some frogs, they benefit. The turtles even benefit from the beaver ponds, as well as salmon. And salmon is a large native fish that lives in clean, clear water. They benefit from beaver ponds too, as well as a dragonfly. They can also benefit from the creation of these ponds. Beavers are truly nature's builders as they build themselves homes using all of the wonderful adaptations that they have on their body. And in the same moment, they build themselves a home as well as more habitat and homes for other creatures in the area. They really make a big difference for all these other animals in their environment. They're really nature's builders. I'm so glad that you could join me today. And if you have any questions about beavers, please send them in and I would love to answer them. And I think Sarah is here again today and she has some questions from students that came in. Do you have any questions for us, Sarah?
Hey, good morning. I just loved hearing about the beaver. We did get a few questions that were sent in, so let me read them off here.
Yeah.
So Tyler from Oregon City was wondering how long beavers can hold their breath underwater. What do you think? How long can you hold your breath underwater? I think I don't know, how long can you do it? Maybe 30 seconds?
Maybe, no more than a minute.
Yeah.
No more than a minute.
Yeah.
What about the beavers? How long can they do it?
Beavers can hold their breath for up to 15 minutes underwater.
Wow.
That's pretty amazing.
That's a long time.
Cool. Let's see. We got a question from Sophie in Canby. She was wondering how long it takes them to build a dam.
Oh.
Yeah, what do you think about that? So if we think about all the materials that go into a beaver dam, so all the sticks and the tree parts that need to get cut down, the mud, the rocks and all that. So it really depends upon how big that dam is. So they can build a dam in about 24 hours. So in one day they could build a dam, but the really longer dams probably take them up to a week or more. Okay.
All right.
I'll just take one more question. We've got Jacob from Milwaukee was wondering why beavers' teeth are orange.
That's a great question. They are quite orange.
So everybody take your tongue and run it over your front teeth. You feel it should be smooth. Hopefully you brushed your teeth this morning. So that smooth part that you're feeling, that's your enamel. And beavers have very strong enamel. And they have iron in their teeth. Iron is a mineral, and that's what makes their teeth orange. Yeah. Okay. Did we get any other questions, Michelle?
Is that an albino beaver?
That's a great question, Bennett. This is not an albino beaver. That would be interesting. But this beaver, he is very old. It's a very old beaver statue. And the sun has bleached the fur. So he spent a little too much time in the sun and now is this lighter color.
Yeah.
Another question, how do the beavers actually build the dam?
How do the beavers actually build the dam? That's a great question. So, like we talked about, beavers use their big, strong teeth to cut down all the trees and wood and sticks that they need to build the dams. So they get all the sticks and rocks and mud, and they have very dexterous or very, very helpful front paws, and they can use those to carry the sticks and rocks, and they carry them or swim with them over to where they're building the dam, and they use the mud and the sticks and the rocks to pack it all together.
Yep.
So all those adaptations are super helpful.
How long do beavers live?
That's a great question.
So up to about 16 years.
Seems like a long time. Holy cow.
So I just was going to add one thing about the beaver dam.
Yeah.
So near my house, there's a place where I go walking, and a few years ago we noticed some beaver activity, and it was really cool to see them building that dam. So they use their front paws to collect mud, and first they kind of put the mud down, and then they get rocks and they pack the rocks in the mud.
Wow.
And then they start with the sticks. They collect all various size sticks and jam it into the mud with all the rocks, and that slowly builds up over time, and that's how they build their dam. Yeah. One more question.
Okay, where do beavers sleep?
Where do beavers sleep?
That's a great question. So, like I said before, beavers, when they're building their dams, they do it because they're building themselves a home. And within those dams, they can also build something called a lodge. And they use the same materials as a dam, the mud and the sticks and the rocks. And they kind of build themselves this mound that is hollow inside with different chambers where they can actually sleep. So, if you ever see a beaver dam, there may be beavers that are able to sleep and hide in there. And they also store their food in there sometimes. So they sleep inside their lodges.
Right. So usually the lodges are not in the dam itself. The lodges are separate.
Good point.
And the other thing that they sometimes do in this area, I've noticed, is instead of building a huge lodge, they actually build burrows underground. So that place I was telling you about where I like to go hiking, there's an area where there is a hole. I kid you not. It's like this big.
Wow.
And you can see that's where the beaver is coming and going from the water. So a lot of times beavers in this area will be sleeping in their burrows in the banks near water. So look for big holes.
Interesting. Who knew? I've learned something new today about beavers. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Sarah, for coming and helping us answer these important beaver questions. And thank you all to all of you in the classroom that asked these questions. It's so much fun getting to answer the questions with you all. Great. Well, thank you so much.
Yep.
So until next time, I'm so glad that you got to come and enjoy this beaver time with us. And I hope you can join us next week. What are we talking about next week, Sarah?
Next week is all about animal homes.
Oh, animal homes. Wonderful. So join us next week to talk about different animal homes. And until next time, I hope you can stay curious, get outside to explore, and I'll see you around the wetland.